All right, so you go to console, and once you get inside the console, for those that are new, you have to create a new project, and that's found here. So you create a project. So I have some already created, but basically you walk through, you create your project. Once you create your project, you should see something similar to this, and it should pop up with a tutorial. Once the tutorial, you can cancel out of that, because basically what we're doing is we're just going to spin up instances at Google Cloud. However, I do want to get us to the point where we learn how to spin up instances from command line at Google Cloud. And so that way you can use your scripts and stuff to spin up instances, destroy them. And when I say instances, I mean just like what you see here is like create an instance. So that's what that is. So I want to get us to that level. Any questions so far? No? Yes? No? Okay. Silence is agreement. All right. So if you're in, if you guys already have your um, Gmail account or your cloud account set up, you're going to create an instance. And for this one, I'm just going to call it Wednesday class Linux. I think it has to be underscore. I think. Hold on. It may like the dashes. Yeah, it likes dashes. So dashes is okay. And yours has to be unique to what I do, so it can't be the same thing, or it's going to error out. I'm on the East Coast, so I'm going to choose the East Coast. I'm going to choose the very smallest instance. I'm going to change this to CentOS 7. 10 gigs is fine. Select. As far as the firewall, we're not going to worry about that right now. And then we're going to create. So it's going to create this instance out there on Google Cloud for me. As you can see here, it's spinning to make the instance. What I like about it is I can just open up my terminal from here, and I don't have to do my SSH keys, but we should walk through that so you can do that. By default, the actual terminals, the actual VMs, and they exchange SSH keys, so you can actually log into the actual machines via their terminal that they have. So let me sudo to root here. So this is me sudo su-root. I'm becoming admin on this machine. That's that way. And then here, this is my local box, and I'm just going to SSH to this box. Actually, I'm going to SSH to this IP address here. So show you this. So right now, I'm just going to get the IP address of my machine, but the IP address that I'm going to get on this machine on Google is an internal IP address. So you do IP space ADDR. And as you can see, I have ETH0 here, and then it tells me what my IP address is. Now you see it's 10.142. So, and the name of this instance is Wednesday class Linux. As you can see, the external one is 104, 196, 154, 217. So for my local box, that's what I'm going to SSH to. 104, 196, 154, 217. Please note that the reason why this works for me is because I've already set up SSH keys on my box, on my local Mac to this one. So I'm going to walk you through that. here. So I'm on my box now. All right. So for you, for those that want to set up SSH keys, it goes like this. Let me do basic because I think looking at it the other way, it may be a little, the other color may be a little bit too much. So basically, what you have to do to set up your SSH keys on your box is SSH dash key gen, dash T, and you want to use RSA. I'm not going to run through this because I already have my keys set up and I don't have to switch out my keys. However, you take the default, hit enter all the way, do not set a password, and inside your home, here it's actually ID rsa.pub. I want to cat that particular information, and then I'm going to cut and paste that information into here. So I go back over here to metadata, and then I go over to SSH keys, and then I hit edit, and then I add my key here, and that key, once you add it, it's going to generate this username here. It'll generate that for you. As you can see, I have one already generated, and that's how you set up your SSH keys um, on your local Mac or Linux box. They do have instructions for Windows, so, and I think it uses putty. Windows, Google Cloud Platform. I think you have to use putty for that. Let's look and see what they have. So, using SSH keys, command line, overview. Let's see what they have here. It is Windows. Yeah, so they use putty, and they walk through, and this is what you have to do for putty. I'll post this for you guys that are using putty, or Windows, I should say. Is everyone with me so far? Moving too fast? Moving too slow? You got questions? You're not sure where we're at? I got one good so far, and I'm assuming she's speaking for the rest of everyone else. Yeah, you can use the instance from Saturday class. Yeah. The reason for the SSH keys is because somebody could sniff um your actual interaction with your box, and what they call, it's called man in the middle attack. So um basically, when you're doing an attempt, let me show you this too as well too while we're here. Hopefully you can see. Let me clear, make this a little bigger. All right, so I'm gonna vim ssh sshd underscore config, right? So in here, I can set up my my instance, or my VM, to not allow passwords. And I can also set it up to allow only certain users that could log into my box. So with that being said, when you're talking about what's the purpose of the SSH keys, I can end up, say I'm a hacker, I can just end up just hitting your bots multiple times if I wanted to, just trying different different usernames and different passwords to attack your machine. So with that being said, if you want to really eliminate that, you can eliminate that with your usage of, well, number one, of changing your port, but people still can scan. So that's really not a good idea. It's a good idea, but people still can scan your box. And then the other one is, you want to be able to stop people from attacking your box so many seconds at a time with an attack. And then the man in the middle attack, somebody's on a, say for instance, we're on a network and we're sharing, really what a cloud is, we're sharing actual a location out in the cloud. I'm sharing this bare metal box with other people who are on this bare metal box. Now, who's to say that that person who's on the same machine, who has a VM that they, excuse me, spawn up, doesn't end up sniffing the traffic on that box? So they can sniff the traffic on that box and then, notice that you're using a password to get in, and so they just sit there and just try using a dictionary attack. So that's why when they tell you to make your password strong. So here's dictionary attack, uh via SSH. So this is a good one to watch here, but this is also, yeah, the brute force attack is really, somebody wrote a script and all they do is just sit there and just hack your box. They're just sitting there just hacking away at your box. So, you know, when you get someone doing that, number one, it's eating up your bandwidth on your machine, and two, they could cause your machine to die. So you get the man in the middle attack. You can get a DOS attack, somebody attacking your machine. So it's just the DOS attack. The SSH keys doesn't take care of the DOS attack. That's something totally different. However, the SSH keys does take care of somebody doing like a brute force, which you setting up authentication. And then that's just one way, right? So then there's two-factor authentication over SSH as well. DigitalOcean has it. A couple of places have it, but let's look at it. What do they consider two-form authentication? I know. Let's see. I'm gonna go back and look at DigitalOcean. Yeah, so SSH key pair, and then a server-side password. They actually go in here and tell you how to break that down. And that, notice that it just said there is a public key and then keyboard interaction. The read the commas as an and. So yeah, so if this user matches, you have the public key and this password, then we'll let that user in. That's a two-form authentication, and you'll find that sometimes in your searches of using different apps and stuff, they do maybe a two-form authentication. I think right now, PayPal does it, where you'll log in, and then once you log in, it'll say, "I'm gonna send a text to your phone," and it sends you a text, and you have to put in the code in order to get in, even though you have the password and it's your account. So that's a two form factor authentication. So you can do the same thing with SSH. You can actually set up a password generator that'll send out a text to your phone or to the user's phone, and say, okay, well, you have this key and you need this password or this access code to get in, and you can set it up, to change every 10 seconds or something like that, for that person to log in. I hope, did that make sense? I know it was long, but did that make sense? All right. So back over here. So inside here, we're telling it to use keys. You can see here, I'm telling it to use RSA keys. I could have set up ECD DSA keys, but RSA is good enough for what we need to do. And as you can see, I can't log in as root, so I can't SSH root at or SSH-L at. And then it tells it to look at authorized keys in order to log in. And then look here as well, password authentication, no. I can't even type in a password. And then the challenge response, if you were using password, has been disabled. And this is all set up by default from Google. So this is just how they outlined everything. So let's get rid of that. So that's SSH keys. That's me logging in from my terminal. When I say terminal, my local bare metal machine, my laptop, or whatever other box I have, going to Google's box. So when I say by default, they already have the authentication, the SSH keys set up between the two boxes. Let's go back to my compute engine because I have two boxes that are already set up. Right, and so here is the other one. Let me look and see which one did I log into first. See, so this is what I was talking about. If those of you who were in my class on Saturday, this is what I was singing. ifconfig is the old command. The new command is ipadr. So that's just, and if you want ifconfig, that's a good learning lesson. You need to do a yum search ifconfig and let yum go out to the repo and search where every instance of ifconfig comes up. There's something called tools. Yeah. So net tools is where ifconfig is for if I want to run that command. So I do a yum install net dash tools dash y. It's going to run it. It's going to install it for me. Right. So now I can do ifconfig. Right. But before, I'm going to do a yum remove to show you. And clear. Now if I do ifconfig, that's no longer there, but I can do ipadr. And that's how I know that's how I find out my local IP address. So I want to now see that's 10.0.12. I want to go to this IP address. I want to SSH to 104.196.179.55. So I'm on my other box now. So actually, let's close that. And let's open up another terminal. Let's make it a different color. Homebrew. Can you guys see that? Is that okay? Color wise. I'm gonna go with yes, it's okay. Okay. All right. So remember, when I want to sudo to root, I su dash root. Let me see something. I can su dash this way, but I'm coming in as Tamika Reed, so I probably need to put in the password that they have on it on my Google account. Yeah, it would be the password for my Google account. Let me see. I have to do it that way, I believe. Hold on. Make sure I got the right password. No, it doesn't like me. I had to figure out which one it uses. Either way it go, you can sudo su dash root, and you are now root. So let's talk about some basic commands, and we're gonna talk about some advanced commands. So I know some of you guys are probably kind of new and some of you are a little advanced, but we're gonna kind of go in between advanced, intermediate, and beginning. So bear with me. All right. So one thing you always want to do whenever you want to make changes again to a file, you always save the file before you make changes. If you are running a VM like we are, you want to save the changes of the VM. So in here, we can take, let me see, where is it at? Well, we can take a snapshot of this VM. Let me look in here and see. I don't want to clone it. I actually want to take a snapshot. Here we go, snapshots. And let's go to create a snapshot. And I want to create a snapshot of my will test one. I can leave it automatically encrypted. I can say Wednesday's class before changes, right? Whatever you want to, whatever description suits you, and then create. So now it's creating a snapshot. So if I had to roll back, if I totally screwed up this box, which is nothing on it, but a good method would be to create a snapshot of the box first and then continue on. Um, and those that did create your Google Cloud account, you have 60 days until you have to pay. So you can always go make another email address and then keep using it however you feel. Or you can switch over to DigitalOcean, which is $5 a month, for instance. Or you can use VirtualBox on your local box and go from there. All right, so we have a snapshot. So really is nothing on it, so I'm not going to do the other one. I just wanted to demonstrate how to make a snapshot on your boxes. So anytime I want to know where I am at on my box, I could type pwd. I'm in root. I'm going to exit out here, and I'm going to do some of the same commands. So pwd, I'm in home. Tamika Reed here on the right, and on the black screen, I'm in /root. So let's look at this. All right, so, and then let's look at this over here. All right, so I have two instances, so I'm talking to both screens at the same time, and I'll say if I'm on the black screen, and I'll say if I'm on the white screen. Right now, I'm looking at the black screen. I did a ls slash. The only thing I did was listed what was under slash. Everything starts from slash anyway. So if I tell you to cd over to slash opt, meaning cd over to /opt. So you would do cd over to /opt. You know, cd meaning change directory. That's what that means. So what I was wanted to show you, if I want to go back up to root, I could do this. I could do cd slash, or if I was in /opt, I could do cd ... Takes me one level up. If I were in cd over to var log and I do the same thing, cd ... it's going to take me up one level. If I wanted to get back to slash, cd slash. That's the purpose of cd, change directory. What I wanted to show you was on the left side, what I'm looking at is I see a listing of directories over here and links. How do I know they're directories? It's because there's a D in the front here. How do I know they're links? It's because they're L. And I also know permissions. For those that were in my class this weekend, this will probably be a review for you, but for everyone else it may be new, but we're going to run through this. All right, so remember this. Everything is divided up into user, group, and other. All right, so let's pull this up. All right, so user, and group, other. And no particular reason why I wrote that capital, just me. All right. So, and the way permissions are broken down into octals. So let me grab um, this one here. All right. So basically, we're gonna pull this on the outside. Oh well, we'll put this. We know we'll do this. Let's do this. All right. And then let's do this. So we're gonna say everything is in octal. So RWX here, and then RWX, and I should line these up. And then here, RWX. Okay. So what I just grabbed was bin. So this is the bin. It's actually /bin. Be politically correct there. So what you have here is, as you see, I have user, group, and other, right? Or others, as some people like to say. And what you see is RWX, RWX, RWX. And you're like, what in the world is RWX? Well, let's write that down. R equals to, make it lowercase so you don't have any confusion. W equals to write, and X is equal to execute. All right. So basically, each one of these equals to 4. We're talking octal here, 2, and 1. All right. So basically, you can look at this here and say this is 4, 2, 1, and you add this up. So that equals to 7. Same here. I'm just going to copy and paste. All right. So that means the permissions on this directory is 777. Well, it's wide open. It means the user, the group, uh, the other, everybody can do every single thing, right? So let's do one more. And it's a link. I should let you know that it's a link. So let's grab here. Let's do this one. And then I'll explain this other stuff that you see. So with this being said, you look at this. This one is a L. It's a link. So let's go here. L equals to link. D equals directory. And nothing in front. You got nothing in front. That's an actual file. And when I say nothing in front, let me ls etc. Let's do ls minus l. Sorry. And let's pipe that over to more. So pipe command over to more. All right, look here. You see that dash in front? That's how I know that's that's just a file. That's what that is. So that's why I put that here. It's just a file. So 3 types: your link, your directory, and a file. There's more like characters and block devices, but we're not ready for that yet. All right, so here, what do you see? SRV is a what? Based on what you see here, what would be SRV? We know SRV is what? You can say it, you can type it. Nobody? Nobody knows what this is? Anybody? Oh, no. SRV it does stand for server, but the permissions on the actual directory. So with the D in front, it means it's what? It means it's a directory. Right. And then the permissions, if we know we're adding them up, for the user. Let's break it down. Remember this, everything's is in threes. So if you have to, type it out. Sorry, other. And let's look at it. Everything is in threes. So come on. I'll be nice. Fine. I'll just do it myself. R-X and R-X. All right. So looking at this again, we see read, write, execute is on. So we know this one gets a 7. We know that it's R and it's X. And so read is 4, X is 1. That gets a 5. And then read and X, again, 4 plus 1, it gets a 5. So by default, the permissions on this directory is 755. Does that make sense to everybody how I came up with that? Okay. All right. So with that being said, we know the permissions on SRV is 755. We know that it's a directory. And we know that the next thing we know is that the user and the group is root. So I think in class I made a user here. And yeah. So I don't think I can make anything at the top. I think on Google they don't let you make anything at the top. Oh, they let that one make something. Let me see, where am I at? I'm in my home directory. That's why. Let me go over to / yeah. So if I cd tilde, that gets me back to my home directory. Either way it go. As you can see, I made a directory and it's called hello. And you can see the user and the group of that is me. Tamika Reed. Right? So how does that get assigned? Let's look at one thing here. ID-A tells me I have a UID of 1,000, Tamika Reed. I have a GID of 1,001. I'm in a group named Tamika Reed. And here's the rest of the groups that I belong to. I'm in a Google sudoers file, and SELinux is turned on. There's a couple of ways we could tell with SELinux being turned on. Awesome. That's fine. I'll change this later. I have another document. I'm just writing it down so you guys know where I'm at. So I could tell with how SELinux is turned on by a couple of things. Okay. Let's do it ls-l here. As I said before, there's several ways to tell how SELinux is turned on. When I do a ls-l, you see this dot right here? Then that's how I know that SELinux is turned on. I can double verify that by saying git enforce, and I see that SELinux is set to enforcing. All right. I can also do another thing here. I'm switching in between screens. I'm on the black screen. I can vi etc SELinux config, and I'll see that SELinux is set to enforcing. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm running at enforcing as we speak, but I know that SELinux is turned on because I just checked with git enforce. But also there's enforcing, there's permissive, and disabled. And those are the three things that I can do to SELinux. I can set it to permissive, I can set it to enforcing, or I can disable it. Anytime you set SELinux to do one thing and you want it to be persistent across reboots, you need to change it here in this particular directory. And that directory, well, that file is etc SELinux config. Oh, sorry. All right. So that's how you check to see what it's set at, right? Well, let's do this. Let's over here I could do sudo set enforce. I want to set it to permissive. I just do 0 because it's already in enforcing. And when you set enforce to 0, it's going to go back and say, okay, I'm going to change permissions. I'm going to change SELinux to permissive. And that's only a temporary thing. Because why? Because over here, I have enforcing inside of the actual file. All right. So here, now if I do a git enforce, you see it's permissive. So I can change that back and say 1 and it go back to enforcing. This only applies when it's in enforcing mode. If it was already permissive and you set it to 0, it would be disabled. So that's just a FYI. Okay, so let me get out of there. Clear that. Clear that. Any questions before we go to the next one? When will you use SELinux? Well, in Linux, you need to use it all the time. So by default, the reason why you use SELinux is because it's another layer of security. Now, if you talk to some people who are developers and so forth and so on, they'll tell you it is a waste of their energy because they're like, it's too hard to figure out. It breaks everything, so forth and so on. So SELinux, by default, in the standard install of Red Hat is set to be turned on. So what does SELinux give you? It gives you another layer, of security. So let's look at that right quick. We see. I notice it be. Let's see if you're paying attention. How would I change this to be set to permissive from command line right now? I don't know if it's turned on on Ubuntu by default. It should be. Should be a standard. So how would I turn on SELinux right now? If I want to set it to permissive, how would I set it to permissive? I just type 0. You got to give me the full command. Okay. Because I'm root over here, I don't have to type I don't have to type 0. I don't have to type sudo. Over here, yes, I do. Because I'm just a regular user, set enforce, sorry. And then I get enforce. Same here. Get enforce. All right. So I'm going to go back and set it back up. I want to show you some stuff. So by default, everything you have on your box is being recorded to what we call your logging server, which is local to this box at this point. So if I cd over to, I could just cd over to var because I'm at /. How do I know I'm at /? Well, there's one thing. There's my root. There's the name of my box, and then this is my current path or my current directory. Or if I didn't know that, I just type pwd. So now watch this change here on the black. Watch that change. You see now it changed to var. There's a reason why that changes, and we'll talk about that later. But I want to go to var log actually. And I like to run this command. You guys could run this with me if you have everything up. You can do a ls -ltrh. What did I just do? Man ls. And I type it over here, ls -ltrh on var log. All right. So what I did was when I don't know what the options are, you need to understand you have man pages. So it tells me ls lists the directory of contents. As you guys get more advanced, you start writing your own man pages, which is cool. So we'll talk about that. So I did a ls minus l t h r. Okay, so let's look in here. I did a ls minus l t h r. So h was human readable. And you see it says with the dash L prints in human readable format. So they kind of go together. And here's the dash L, give me the long listing, which what you see over here in the white. I gave it the long listing, which gave me all the other permissions that are associated with it. And then the R that you see here gives me the reverse order while sorting. So it's sorted for me. And then the T gave me the timestamp. So basically, I sorted with time. So I wanted to know what was the last file written to, really, is what it gives me in that directory. So this is the last file that was written in that directory. If I do a date, I also get the time as well. So let's run that again, and then let's do date. So our current time is 23:48 on this particular box. And then here is my 23:45 that lets me know this is the latest file that has been written in this directory. These two are. So why do we care? All right, so we care because we need to know what's going on with our server. Our log files tell us exactly what's going on with our server. So if everybody wants to know how their boot went, you can do a cat. If you're in var log, you can cat boot log, boot.log. So you can see here what went on in the file, or what went on when it booted up, or I can do a vim boot.log. You see how that came out? You see how I got the control characters? That's why I say cat it. Let's clear that. So bring it over some so it's not off the page. Cat boot.log. Pipe that over to less. Oh, it didn't like me. Just cat it. Yeah, it didn't like me with the less. It sends the control characters back. But what it gives is it tells you when it booted up, what services started okay and what services possibly failed. So that's what you get from your boot log in your messages file right here. Let's clear that. And let's cat messages, right? And it tells me I got some failed password attempts. It tells me some network manager. It tells me a lot about my box and what's going on. So let's play with this. Let's look at secure. I'm gonna do a tail. I want to show you this. Dash F on secure. Okay. All right. And I'm gonna open up another terminal here. Come on back. And I don't remember which one this one is. Oh, we'll test. Okay. Let me go back and get the IP for that. The external IP. All right, the external IP for that is 104.179.55. 104.179. What did I just say? 104.196.179.55. Boy, I can't remember. 104.196.179.55. Did you see that? I don't know if you did. It was quick. Watch the screen. You see I logged out. It's logging. I go back, SSHN, and it's telling me my public key is accepted, so forth and so on. Here's my RSA key, blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's what you want when you're logging. That right there was the secure file. And what I did was I did a tail-f secure in real time, so I can get real time statistics on what's going on with that particular file or my login. So now another thing that you get in real time is you could do a tail-f on messages. So here, whenever you log in, let me show you this. Control C, clear. Vim etc rsyslog.conf. This file tells you, it tells the system exactly where to store files or logging messages. So here, anything that's dealing with mail or anything that's dealing with cron or just information, it tells it to store in var log messages. I could change this and start a syslog server and tell it to go store something over in Thailand. As long as I have a connection between the two, I can tell where to store my files. Same thing with secure mail, and if it's emergency. This used to be your news and critical stuff. That used to be like your news feeds. That's what they were. And then here you can see varlog bootlog gets a local 7. We'll go over these as we get into what these actually mean a little later. But we're just doing basic stuff, just showing you around. So again, remember, if I want to know where I'm at, pwd. If I want to go to another directory, I cd to say /etc, and I go into that directory. If I want to see the contents of this directory, I do a ls-l, long listing. If I just want to just look at what's in that directory, I can just do a ls, and doesn't give me the permissions as it normally would. I can also do ls-l and pipe that over to head, and it's going to give me the first 10 lines. I can do ls-l and do tail, and it's going to give me the last 10 lines. I can do ls-tail-n 40, and it's going to give me the last 40 lines. I can do head -2, n -2. I just give them the first 2 lines. So that's head and tail. That's CD. That's ls. That's ls-l. That's ls-ltrh. You said, is this equivalent to Windows event logs? Probably so. Yeah. Keeping up with what's going on with the Windows side with event logs and so forth. But then it depends on the application of where that application installs is logging information. So that would be equivalent to that. So if you're on your box, type date, and it gives you the date, the time, and so forth. But if you did a date -- help, you can see you can break this down. So let's do a date -- help. Type that over to less. That's what you want to do. All right. So as you can see here at the top, remember you have a date, which is the command, and then in brackets are options, meaning in other words, I have optional things that I can do with my date. I can also do date -u, and let's look and see what that gives us. And then here's mandatory arguments too long for options or mandatory or too short for options. Okay, so let's look at this. I can put it in different formats. I can do a week and a number. I can tell it how I wanted it to be displayed. And they break that down here. Like your time zones, the dates. Let's do clear. What does date dash u give us? And then what does date give us by itself? So look, date dash u, it gave us UTC time, and then date by itself gave us EDT time. You see the difference there? So let's do date dash dash help. Pipe that over to less again. So yeah, see dash u is UTC. And then I can do minute, day, hour, minute, what is it? No, month, day, hour, minute. I can do it that way. I can do changes. Let's look this up. Let's play with the date command some so you get familiar with it. Something that you can see and you can take with you. Here's the link. I posted it in the chat. So we did the date and we did a date dash u. Now look at how they formatted it. They did a date dash. That's actually setting the date too. So they just set the date to be displayed, and then they left the time zone. And here they changed it and said how they wanted the date to be formed. They said the following example takes an input date and time string and displays the output in the date format. So yeah, so here's like I want my date, time, and time to be formatted this way. And you don't have to play with this right now, but that just gives you an idea of how you can format your date. You can customize it to how you want to, and that's what this talks about. Oh, let's see. It said display past date. So date dash dash date equal to 3 seconds ago. Oh, okay. 1 day ago. What I guess the date and the time at that time and so forth. So there's different things that you could do. Yep, date dash u, we did that. And then we can format our options. So date plus percentage A. Let's look at that. You don't like that? Let's see, do I need a space? Yeah. And then let's go back up and do so the A is the abbreviated week. The capital A is the full weekday name. So let's go back up and do capital A. And let's go back and look at that. We can do so we can do %D, which will give us all of them. But let's do this. Let's do plus D %D plus %M. Okay. So I want to they don't like the spaces. Yeah. So so as you can see, let's get rid of that. Yeah. So that's just me playing around with the date command. So that gives you an idea of how you guys can play with the date command. Does that make sense to you? When would you ever use it in a script? When you don't want to when you don't want to pull in all of this information, you want to kind of fine tune your script to have this information. You could do that, which would be really really cool because then you can say, okay, well, I fine tune my time and my date stamp for my log files. So um, again, back over to var log, and let's do it ls minus l, and then grep for messages. You see how they have messages? They got a time, they got a date on it. You can set up your script or your log files to be that same way, and that actually comes from etc log rotate d. Let's look at it may be syslog. It may not be. Let me see. Yeah, it's syslog. So syslog, it takes care of the var log messages, but in here, let me look at. Let me see. Oh, they don't have nothing in there. I was trying to show you where they actually set it at. I will have to do some package install where they set where this messages should be. This messages and then the date. There's a configuration file that actually sets that, and there's probably in log rotate, but I didn't see it there. So rotate D, and it's not in. I see syslog, but I don't see where they have where they set up the rotate of it, and it's not in NXT, but I'll look and find that so you have that. So we've gone over the CD command, we've gone over ls, we've gone over ls minus l. To read a file, it's always vim or cat, or let's look at the other ones. Yum, search, pico. uh that's awesome. Yum, search, nano. Okay, yum, install nano. Yes. So nano is another text editor. I'm going to go over to etc. I'm not a nano fan. I've been using vim forever. So again, if you do ls minus l, remember anything that doesn't have the dash in front is a file. If it has an L or D in front, it's a link or a directory, respectively. So let's look at the host file. So I can do nano host. So this looks totally different than what I've been using before, right? So in here, I could just start typing. Hello. I just start typing, right? And then I wanna save this. So now when I want to save, I do a control. I think it's control O. And then, oh no, it's not. Let's go back. Control C. Let's see what happens when I do a. I'm so unfamiliar with this one, so bear with me. I don't want to read it. Let me see if I do a control X. Yes. So it's just control X. Save modified answers. No will be, if you say no, will be destroyed. You want to hit yes. So I just saved it. So, and then I'm going to control C and control X, and then yes. Oh, how do I get out? Is it control X? Nope. Control C. I did a control X. I want to quit. Control X. And nope. Okay, there you go. All right, so now if I cat host, oh, I didn't save it. That's awesome. Let's go back. Let's try nano again. Not a nano fan, people. Not a nano fan. You can't hold this one against me. I blame you. Control S, Shift Y, Control C, Control X. I just did that. Hold on. Oh, Control C, Control X. We're going to say Shift yes, so I can save it. So it should be there according to what I'm thinking. No, it's not there. So yeah, I'm not a fan of nano, so don't charge it to my head. I like VI. Actually, it's Vim. So because I don't have to remember all the control X and control Y. And I'm surprised they didn't have Pico. Can I just type Pico? I'm surprised that Pico is not there. I wonder if they took it out of a Red Hat. Hmm. see. I wonder if they dumped it. I wonder, like, you need to use Nano or P or VI. That's interesting. They might have dumped Pico. I guess so. I like Vim. I've been using it forever, so I stick with Vim. So if you guys like Vim, then run with it. Cool. If you don't like Vim, then cool. Let me go over some stuff with you that I should have gone over. Bin. Bin is usually everybody who logs in usually has access to the actual files in that directory. And when I say files in that directory, usually they're command line scripts. So if you did a ls on bin, you'll see that these are scripts. You don't ever want to mess with these because you could potentially mess up your machine. But as a regular user, died on me. Terminal died. That's awesome. How about this terminal? No. If you do a ls on bin and say I do more, so I can do like bin more host. Oh, sorry, etc host. I just read that file, right? So, if I do, let me show you this. If I go over to sbin as root, you can see the permissions change. User group other 755, and you see I have some files in here that I can run. So let's look at this. Can I see the older user sbin? Yes. Can I run some of these files? I probably can run some files. I probably have permissions on some files. Let's see. Let me see. Chroot is missing something. Okay, let's look at Chroot. I can execute it. Versus over here, because I'm not, remember who I am. I am Tamika Reed. So user, group, and other has permissions of 5 and 5. So I can read and I can execute, but I can't write to this file. So I shouldn't be able to chroot this file. Oh, it let me. That's crazy. I shouldn't be able to. But again, I may be sudo in sudoers too. So let's look at that again. Let's look. Hold on. Let's copy chroot over to chroot. I can read it. That's right. I can read the file. All right. So now if I go to chroot this file and say I put you see that one and read only. I'm just gonna type something in there, and then I'm gonna right quit, and it won't let me because I don't have permissions to that actual file. I don't have permissions to write to that file. So again, I can't write to that file. But as the user and owner of this root, I have permissions to do that. So that's your difference between your sbin and your bin. And in some cases, some commands a regular user can't run. In some of these cases, you can't. Some of these you can't run. Let me see. Let me see if you can find the permissions on these that on the ones that you can't run. Let's see. I don't see any. Hold on, moving fast. Okay, so I get to read and execute, but other. So I will fall in other. So I don't get a chance to read, and I don't get a chance to do anything with this one, as you can see. On all this I guess all the SPD. And audit control, I don't get a chance to run that. Audit, I don't get a chance to run that. Only the user and the group, which is root and root, get a chance to do that. So that's your differences between your SBin and your bin. All right, so let's CD back up to slash. All right, so then you have the boot directory. So let's look at the permissions on boot. You can see, look at it, root and root, but I can't write to it, right? So boot is where you'll find your system information. And when I say system information, your kernel information. This is where you find out about what particular kernel you're running, what the different kernels that are on your system. I can do uname -a, and you can see I got 3.10.027 excuse me 2728, right? That's the latest and greatest. But I also have an image of 3.2722. I also have 121 dot 121.el7, and you see the actual mapping of those. So I have the init ramfs, I have the actual kernel, and then I have the map that goes with it. So back in the day, you would have to you could make your own, you can customize your own kernel. Right now, by Red Hat default, in order to customize your own kernel, you have to go here. You have to go to kernel.org. Ubuntu usually goes with the latest and greatest kernel, which is 4.73. Red Hat by default or CentOS by default stays several releases behind. As you can see, 3.10. You can download the latest and greatest kernel, grab some other RPMs that you need to install, and customize this this kernel for this box. And we'll do that at a later time, but it's actually kind of fun. So you'll like it, but it takes a while because you have to go through and do a lot of steps on customizing your kernel. Any questions so far? No? Everybody's keeping up? Um, are you easy? Is it easy to understand? Okay. All right. So let's continue. Let me show you this. So the grub.config, right? So it used to be called grub conf, and you could go in here and set what your actual kernel that you wanted to boot into by default. So in here you'll see when this boots up, if we had a direct console, because we have a console, but we can't see it boot up, right? You see here it tells you I could probably go here and look. Let's look at that. Let me control C that. So here it tells me what kernel is booting, the init ramfs that goes with it, and so forth. But it doesn't tell me exactly what boots up first. So let's do this. Let's look at this. Let's see if it gives it to us. It may and it may not. I'm looking. Hold on, let me look. Yeah, it doesn't give me the option like it normally do. Let me look here. I know this is no longer
Yeah. So yeah. So back in Rails 6, you could go in Knit tab and say, okay, um I want to go through and I want to say, okay, I want to make sure that I boot into this kernel because this other kernel corrupts X, Y, and Z. In Rails 7, there's a difference. So changing kernel uh, Rails 7. Let's get this. Changing the default boot entry. All right, let's see. System config kernel specifies a new kernel package should make the default, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now you just do grub set, blah, blah, blah. All right, so look, let's look at this. And I'll explain this for me. All right, so as you can see, if you count it, it'll be 0, 1, and 2, and then 3. Starting at the top, 0, 1, 2, 3. So what they did was they did an Alt-F on this xcgrub conf file. They looked for every place. The delimiter was the spaces, and they looked for anywhere in here where there was a menu entry, and they got the second column, and then they said xcgrub2.conf. So if you did a cat on xcgrub2.cfg and grep for menu entry, that's what they did. Okay, I'll do that one more time. Right? But let's look at the command. They went by spaces. They say this slash here is telling it to escape the character, escape everything, and use single tick with spaces. And it says print me the second column. So here, I'm looking for this as my this is my delimiter. And then this one is the second column. So basically, boom, and it grabbed this whole entire line here. And you notice it didn't print the single ticks. And it looked for $ equals, if $ equals menu entry, and it says what, and then give me the second column and then print it. So that's what it did. So look at that. And notice it didn't print the ticks. And here, what they're saying is, if you want to set it to another kernel, then come here and type in, what was that, grub default, grub2 set default. So you can do grub2 tab, and you can see there's multiple things you can do here. Oh yeah, grub set, and then you can set the password if you wanted to on boot up, but default. And remember, like I said, each line is, this one is that's 0, that's 1, and that's 2. Let's set it to 1. All right, and then now I'm gonna reboot my machine, and let's see if it comes back as 327.22.2. All right, it's pretty quick on reboots here. Maybe not that quick, but let's find out. Any questions so far? Come on. I'm in. All right, clear. And let's do a uname -a. And I'm 3.27.22.2. Let's go and reset that back to 0, which should be the original one that I had, and reboot. And that's how you set your new kernel inside of Rails 7. So it's quiz time. How can I find out if if SELinux is turned on my box? I'm gonna let you guys tell me. And just to see if you were paying attention, I'm gonna start my clock. So I have a clock. Let me see. 49. So let's do this. I'll give you guys another 40 seconds. You guys tell me, how do I find out if SELinux is turned on my box? And what is it set at? You guys can collaborate with each other. That's what we're here for. This is just a test to see if you're paying attention. Nobody has it. Nobody knows the answer. It's blasphemy. I don't believe it. No? Okay. Nobody knows the answer. So get enforced. Remember, there's no answer is wrong or right. You're here to participate. Yeah, get enforced. If I want to find out using the new way what my IP address is, what would I type? Using the new way. IP space ADDR. Remember, space helps you. All right. If I want to um, find out um, who last logged into my box, and I didn't go over this, I just want to see if you guys know it. How would I find that out? There's actually two ways. So I could do a last log, tells me who logged into my box. I can also do a cat on var log secure, and that'll tell me who's been logging into my box and the time and date as well too. So it was two answers, but you knew one of them. All right. If I want to get back to if I want to go to the temp directory, how do I change to the temp directory? Yeah. It's actually TMP. All right. If I want to, I didn't go over this, so let me go over this. So from Rail 6, which I'm going to show you now. If you guys have your compute engine still up, create a new instance. And that new instance, make it will Rail 6 instance. Let's put it back over here. Make it the smallest one. Let's change this. Let's make it CentOS 6. Select. I want to show you this. All right. So in Rail 6 and Rail 7, there are some differences. Rail 6 is based on service and check config versus in Rail 7, everything is system control. So whenever you want to find out stuff about what's booting up at default on your box, you do system control, list, unit, files. I'm gonna pipe that over to less. All right. So without it, you'll see the color changes. But as you can see, I have these are default services and targets, I should say, that are set by default on your Linux box. And so anytime I want to turn them on or turn them off, I have to enable them. So right now my rsync service is disabled. So I can do system control, enable, I can do rsync, and I can just hit tab Oh, it don't like me. That's fine. Access denied. Why? Maybe it's just since the rsync system. Yeah, that's fine. Let's find out why you're denying me. Because I think they may fall under something else. Let's see. Rep rsync. Oh, rsync D. Sorry. Alright, so we'll do this again. I'm gonna disable it. It's gonna, when I disable it, it's gonna remove the links. Everything is over into different units. So look at this here. Multi-target. So I have different targets. Those targets are I have like multi-user, and then I have what they consider the default target, right? So let's look at, let's do a LL on that, um, or ls minus L. So I have default, which default target goes over to multi-user target, and then you have uh, basic target once. That's something different, but that's where we're at. We don't have an interface. Hold on, let me see what's the other one actually called. So it's actually two of them. Mm, multi-target. Let's go with rail 7. Let's see what the other name was. Basic, multi. Yeah, and method 2. Or I guess they just do. This is run level, because there's different run level. Yeah, run level 5 target. That's what, graphical. Knew it was another one. And as you notice, you don't even have the option for graphical on here. So let's look up, see what package that comes out of. Wonder what package it is. Where's my, there we go. I wonder what package it is. I have to do some search to see what package that comes out of. Maybe just a X11 install. But you could do just like they do here, system get default, um, to find out what your default is set at. Right now, multi-user target is level 3. Your graphical target would be level 5, where you actually have a full-blown interface. So if I do, remember, system control, and if I do -- help, this tells me the different things, different commands I can run with it. So list units. So let's clear system control list units. And as you can see, that's a little bit more expansive than the other one. When I do list unit files, where it gives me the services and whether they're disabled or enabled. Contrary to look at a row 6 box. And I could have connected via command line, but you get the gist. I may have to go and connect command line because it's taking forever.
It's like watching paint dry. Sheesh. All right, so now I can type system control. I want to show you. Guess what? Command's not found because when they made the switch to Rails 7, it falls under um, System D. Inside of Rails 6 is service. So I could do check config dash dash list. So now I'm listing the services and it gives me the different run level that the services are at. Level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Totally different than what you see for um, Rails 7. So here is a Rails 6 box, and here is a Rails 7 box, or CentOS. So totally two different commands. So this is how I check to see what level it's at, and this is by default. Remember, I did system control get default. Remember, and I'm in multi-user target. So when I enable it, it should enable it for the target that I want, the target that I'm set at. Here on Rails 6, I pick and choose which level I want it to run it on, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So here, let's look at so let me clear. So if I just want SSHD, let me do that. I say, okay, SSHD is on level off on level 0, off on level 1, and then on 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is on. So by default, really, you never really use 2. You use level 3 and level 5, and level 6 is reboot, and level 0 is shutdown. So really, you're only using 2, 3, or 5. 5 on the Rails 7 side being graphical, 3 being multi-user on the Rails 7 side, 3 being the command line on the Rails 6 side, and 5 being the graphical side on Rails 6. Same difference? So in here, I could do a lot of things with Yum. Let's do a Yum group list. And it's going to go out to its repos and give me a list of groups. We're going to play with installing a um, grep -i desk. All right, so let me clear. So I want to install the general purpose desktop. So I do yum group install, and it's gonna go through and grab a whole bunch of packages, and I'm gonna say yes. So a reason why I'm showing you this is so if ever you want to play with Linux and you want to play with a desktop in Linux and you want to see how it works, how it feels for Ubuntu or Debian, I think Google Cloud is a good way for you to start and play with, so you can get a feel for whether or not you like the desktop before you do a major install on a laptop. Um, just give you a good look and feel. It'll be the same thing here. On Rails 7, I can do a Yum group list. It shows me what's available. So it says I have access to it doesn't even give me the graphical interface for real for 7. Oh, I got graphical administration tools, but I don't have the graphical interface for um oh, there it is, server with GUI. Let me see. There it is. That's what I want. So clear. So use Google Cloud or VMware or virtual. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what I would do. I would use Google Cloud because I could destroy it and take it down any way I want to. And if you don't want to, renew after the 60 days, you at least know what you want to play with and what you really want to get your hands into. I think it's cool that you can spend up 4 or 5 of the boxes right now. It's free, so you can get a good feel for it. And that's what I would do. Yum group install. Let's go here. All right. Let's say yes to this. I could have said yes earlier, but I didn't. So as you can see, it's installing the 9,000 packages for my graphical interface, and you normally don't. I mean, you really don't need a graphical interface unless you really want to play with one. But I want to show you some things. Once this gets installed. So while that's doing its while it's installing, let's move on. I'm gonna pop open another screen. I'm gonna take these over to another screen while they do what they do. Yeah. All right. So, um, let's also look at SSH in between two boxes. All right. So ifconfig, it's not there. IPADDR. No, I don't have my environment set up on a document or nothing like that. I'm just spinning these up as we talk, so everything is pretty much live. Um, and this video is recorded, so I can post it if you want to go back and look at it. But uh, for me, it's easier for me to show you live because that's just I think you get better training versus me giving you something that's been kind of rehearsed. Um, so I don't know. Do you feel like I should have recorded these and then you guys follow along, or you like it better live? I personally like it better live, but I mean that's just me. All right. So what I wanted to show you here was, um, so I see my yeah. So I see I have 10.142.0.12. As you can see down here, .12 is my Wednesday class Linux. I want to SSH to 142.0.13. Oh, that's fine. Um, so I'm gonna SSH and I'm gonna type in um I know. So if you type who am I'm Tamika. Okay. So I'm gonna SSH to 10.142.0.8. And as you can see, I got logged in, and you see here logged in to will test 1.0.8 on the back end. Remember, I'm on the back end of this machine. All right. So, what I want to say is, did you notice that when I logged in, I didn't log in with a password, right? You know why? Because Google automatically set up the SSH keys for you between machines, which is really cool when you want to try to maneuver around to different machines. So basically if I have an internal network set up where I can SSH and do whatever it is that I need to do, which is really nice. All right, so I can do the same thing for dot. Am I .13? What am I? Hold on. I am .12. So let's go to dot 13. And I'm on the new box. And who am I on that new box? What is the size of my partition? And can I do a last log to tell me who last logged in? I could do also a last reboot. It may be space. Yeah. So it tells me last reboot tells me the last time the machine was rebooted. All right, one of these has finished. The Rail 6 one has finished. Okay. So remember I did a get default. System control. Oh, sorry. I'm on Rail 6. It should tell you. Let's look at man. Let me do a man-k on last. Nothing in there. Let's look up last reboot. All right, so yeah, last reboot. I guess a username or those are my options. Last reboot. Tamika Reed. How about Tamika? Does it give me the same thing? Okay. So see, yeah, and it tells you if I'm logged in or not too. The last reboot was looks like that was a system reboot, but then then I last rebooted the machine and it tells me. So that's pretty cool. All right, so on this Rail 6 box, I'm gonna sudo su-root, and what I want to do is I want to now um um let me sure I'm on the right box. Yeah. Okay. I wanna set it to, this is the difference. Remember, I'm on the Rail 6 box. I can come here and set it to graphical interface 5. So that's 5. So how did I do that? I went into VM init tab. I'll pull up a Rail 7 box so you can see. Whenever it gets connected there. And let me minimize, that's what I want there. All right, so on this box, if I sudo dash root, and if I vim etc init tab, if you notice, I don't have the same information in here. Yeah, you get Windows servers, yes. Not Windows X710 or 7 or 10 with Windows servers. But you can make an image and put it up there. So you see there's a difference in Rail 6 and Rail 7. All right. So you don't get this in Rail 7. That's what this box is. This is a Rail 7 box. But here in this Rail 6 box, I do get that. And then I want to do a yum install tiger VNC star. I want to install everything tiger. Yes. All right. And I'm going to reboot this machine. And then I'm going to come back into it. All right. And this one is my other one is still going. It's on package 575. It's still going, as you can see. All right. So let's see if this one ever come back up for me. No. Still connecting. And I want to show this. So let's sudo su-root. That's VNC server :1. I'm just gonna make a default password here. Alright, I'm on my local box. Let's pull up VNC viewer. Now, it's when it gets funky here. We're gonna do some firewall opening up here. So, on my box, this is how you open up firewall ports. Alright, so here I can do, is this the one I ran it on? Make sure we got the right box. I don't remember now. What did I run it on? Was it this guy? Hold on. Make sure I got the right box. Because I got a lot of boxes open. Let me kill this one. It's on the Rel 6 box. Okay. So, here I want to do a netstat -pent. Alright, look. VNC is running on port 5801 and 5901. So I'm really going to do this from 5800 to 6000. So on my instance, on my Google Cloud, I need to go to my firewall. You do that by going to that little 3-bar there. You go to networking. And then you go to firewall rules. And I think I might have already opened this. Yeah, I did. So I did a default allow VNC from anywhere over ports 5800 to 6800. And then I got some tags for VNC. So I've tagged it, right? So if I go back to my compute engine, and remember I'm working with my Rel 6 box. If I come here and I edit, I put in VNC. So I just applied that firewall rule to just this box. Okay. Now I'll go back here and I grab my IP address, which is that 104. 104 and 196. And please remember, when you reboot your boxes, you turn them on and off, the IP address changes. They're not static unless you request it to be static. Alright, let's see if this gets in. Did I do that right? Oh no, that's the wrong one. Yeah, no, that's right. 104, 196, 201, 2220. Alright, let's go to the box and see what's going on. Let's turn off the firewall. Oh no, that's the wrong machine. It's Rel 6. And where are you at, Rel 6? Okay, let's go back over here. It timed down on me. Let's see if it connects now. VNC server. I think it's just a list. Okay, dash list. I was right.
Okay, it's running. Where are we failing at? Let's see. And when we're doing this, this is when you check your log files. Nothing there. Nothing. I don't see anything. And then we can double check this from my box. And this is all part of troubleshooting. Q. Hold on, let me get out of full desktop mode there. You said, were you able to copy images off of your Google Cloud before? Yeah, I didn't need them. I didn't try. I'm sure I could have. What does it say? Time out waiting for host computer. Okay, let's find out something here. Well, here's the IP address. It's a telnet to port 590 or 5900. Try. How about 5800 or 5801? Try. Let's go back to this guy. Clear you. Do netstat. And actually, it's not even netstat anymore. It's SS Tuna. Here's what the new one is. So 5800, 5801, and 5901. So I'm not getting there. Oops, sorry. I'm not getting there. So it tells me something is going on my firewall. So I need to look at my firewall. Where'd you go? So let's go back to Will. Make sure we had the VNC set up there on the right one. On the tag. Oh, I didn't do it? I thought I did that on there. I guess I didn't. Hold on. Let's put in VNC. And then let's save that. Okay. Is it saved? It's still saving. Okay, it should be saved. And then let's go and try this again. No? Oh yeah, look. We got there now. Alright. And on 5801. We got there. Okay. So we know now through my firewall. I just didn't save it, I guess, when I did it. Come on, quit. There you go. When I did it, I didn't save it. So now, when I come back here, I should connect. And I put in my password. And as you can see, it's trying to set it up, but we may need some other packages in order to finish off our login here. I mean, in order to finish off our graphical interface. But, let's see. Let's go and have a look-see. Alright, so now we know we're connecting over it. Do another Yum group list. Invite that over the list. Alright. You're missing probably the desktop and desktop platform. Okay? Let me double check that. Make sure there's no X11. Yeah, X Windows systems is what I would install. So, clear. I would do a Yum group install. And you can also do group install. um, desktop, desktop platform, and what I say X window. I hope it's window and not Windows system. What I did? Oh, so is it? Okay, so on rail 6, it still don't like the. All right, so let's get this. Let's see. Yeah, here's got a whole nother other packages, set of packages to install. Welcome to the world of why you don't install a desktop on a server. But I just want to show you you have the option to set up your own graphical interface, um, which is totally cool. So, any questions? No. How was the class for you guys? Were you lost the whole time? No. Yes. Were the commands okay? You guys can talk.
You rock boots. Go you.
That's the that's the co-founder.
And this
So
is an interactive training, you all. You guys can take yourself off of mute and don't be afraid to let us hear you. Part of our training is that interactive element. Um, and so everybody can hear, everybody can get comfortable to talk to somebody, to talk with amongst each others within the community to help each other out, basically.
yeah, it's never me wanting to lead all the time. You know, if you ever been in any of my classes, I can go all day. I can sit here and go for the next 30 hours if you let me. However, I'm not going to do that to you. Because by the time I get done, you'll be ready to take the RHCSA tomorrow. So I won't do that to you. But I do want to give you some, information. So you guys can, you know, move forward and be comfortable with moving forward. The only reason why I chose Google Cloud because I think it's easier. Um, I think you also get a better. Um, I also think you get a better sense of what the cloud platform could look like for you if you were to do it. I'm gonna reboot that instance and then I'll start a VNC server session again and then I'll connect again and then you should have a graphical interface. Yeah. And so yeah, if you guys were lost, you have to tell me when you're lost. If you had questions, you have to tell me when you're lost. I know we covered a lot. I didn't even get through half of what I wanted to get through. We didn't get a chance to cover firewalls on the actual box. We covered firewalls on the actual um, on Google Cloud. And then the next time you come in, I'm going to show you how to download my ISO and set up your EPO for getting stuff. For um, yeah, I mean, it's not really like a list of commands. Like I didn't even show you that. Like so, um, Linux command list. Like I you probably do better with like maybe let me see. Yeah,
Because every process has a different set of commands. I think it's just getting in the swing of what those processes are. However, I do recommend that people, if the instructor is going too fast or there isn't something that you understand, to instead of also just typing it in the chat, to go ahead and speak up, because we are looking to you guys on how to scale the trainings. And so our philosophy over here is this silence is agreement. So if you say anything, we're just going to keep moving full steam ahead.
So that's a cheat sheet that I just found just on a basic Google search. Um, like again, some of the commands I haven't covered, but I mean, like, there's not like if you went to the bookstore, will there be a list of Linux commands in a book? Probably.
Yes, I have one.
There's the pocket reference, but I mean, like, just a book that's just saying, hey, here's a set of commands. I've never seen it except for the pocket reference, and they usually call them cheat sheets. That's usually what that is. And the one she's talking about is the Linux Pocket reference, Pocket Guide. Here's the PDF.
Looks quite handy.
That's from 2002. Um, Here's the download of it. I think it's free. There you go. You can download that. Um, and let me look and see what else that's out there.
Sidebar, Tam, if you're hungry, I have an hour, so let me know.
Um, oh yeah, let me reconnect here so you guys get to see my final product, my masterpiece. Um, I do recommend the Linux Plus, and I don't recommend the Linux Plus. I
And
rec-
why is
I recommend the
sorry?
no problem. I recommend the Linux Plus if you are going down a development environment. Um, because most of the people who are developers use the Ubuntu setup to deploy. But industry standard, normally what you'll find out there is most people are Red Hat in, inside of their bare metal servers or their VMs in terms of production servers, and most of the time the developers are in Ubuntu. So it depends on your path. And the only reason why I say it's good to have is because it's just something just good to know. It's that's just it. But could you sit down and spin up Ubuntu on Google Cloud and then go start learning commands? Yes.
Okay, yeah, I love Ubuntu.
Yeah.
I dual booted it with Windows, so
Yeah. So if you're doing that, yeah. And Security Plus, yes, is a good class to have. We're actually starting that soon. And we also CompTIA partners, so we get discounts on tests. So if you let us know, we can get you a discount. But we are going to start that class. So, and guess who's going to be teaching that? You guessed it. All right. So VNC server :1. Um. All right. I didn't put a password on that, so I wonder if it's going to let me connect. It may not. I may have to start another one. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to let me connect. So let's go VNC server 2. And let's. Oh, it didn't let me do it. Oh, okay. I know why. Because I've already set the password. So one should work. And yeah. All right. So as you can see, I'm connected now. And I have a desktop on my Linux box out on Google Cloud. And all the commands and stuff that I was doing, like cd to a directory, you can now just click on it and go to a directory. When I talk about, and I'm on row 6 on this, remember that. So it's a different. And when I talk about my firewall rules and stuff that I was talking about, um, I get it is called services. Administration, where is it at? Oh, there it is, firewall. And then here you go with all of those. Here's your firewalls. Does it make sense to everybody? Is that okay? Yeah. So that's your interface. You see how many packages it took for me to install that? Damn near 9,000 packages, but you get a chance to see. I started up installing VNC. I started up a VNC session, and now I have a graphical interface. So basically, I have a desktop out in the cloud that I could use and I can play with. Could I do the same thing for Ubuntu? Exactly. Could I do the same thing for Debian? Exactly. I can do the same thing. I can do the same setup there. So that's it in a nutshell. That's the interface of that. We went over a lot of things. I didn't go over some shells, but the next time we come in, we won't be doing this pretty little interface. I will show you some command line tricks on installing packages, especially installing stuff with Google Cloud and setting up your instances. We'll be able to do G Cloud. Hold on, I figured it out. It's G Cloud instance create. So I can do here. I can create an instance. So look, so clear. Let's call this new study. So basically, it's gonna go out to my Google Cloud here. And if I go back to instances, you'll see that it's out here creating my instance. It's called new study. And that's from with setting up the SDK. And it's going to report back to me once it's finished. And that's what we want to get in the habit of doing. Is anytime we spin up an instance, I don't want to be inside of my interface here. I want to do everything in the command line. So I created my instance. I could do a G Cloud instance dash help, or I think it's just help. All right. So, oops. I'm sorry. That's me doing my get commands, but I wanted to scroll up. I guess I couldn't. So anyway, I could just start and stop my instance. So, let's go back here. Let's stop my instance. Let's stop. New study is still going. Let's stop will dash test one dash one, and let's stop will rel 6 dash instance. Let's stop that from command line. What are you having problems with? Oh, that's because I have them set up in the zone. So yeah, I would have to go to the zone. I have them set up in my default zone. As you can see, well, no, US East B1. Oh yeah, so I can't stop anything outside of US East 1B without changing. So we'll talk about that when you set it up. But I can stop um when Wednesday class dash Linux. Now that one I should be able to stop because I didn't. It's in the same zone, and I don't know why the last one is taking so long. That one should have been finished by now. Yeah, and as you can see, Wednesday class Linux is stopping. The Saturday class, yeah. So originally when we started, this is how we started. Wednesday is like dump everything in your lap, and Saturday is like more like a review. Um, but in order to be consistent with that, people have to be consistent. So if I dump everything today in your lap and then we kind of review, I review and then I add on stuff. I don't just go back over everything again. I actually take it to the next level. Like, I just created this instance here. So we're going to get to the point where, we may spend the first 30 minutes on review um, Saturday, but I add on stuff as well too. So we always are progressively moving forward. And then in terms of when I'm teaching on Thursdays. Thursday was my RHCSA class, so we spent 30 days studying for the RHCSA, the first 9 chapters, approximately 2 chapters a week, really three, to go over it. What we went over tonight is probably like the first 3 to 4 chapters of the Red Hat book for the RHCSA exam. Things I didn't go over are like really fine tune ACLs and um, how to configure IP addresses and so forth and so on, which we can go over. But really, your intro class that I'm teaching you is like the first 9 chapters of the RHCSA. You said, do you think that it's a good start in setting up my VM? Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would set it up. I mean, you don't have nothing to lose when you got 60 days of it free, and you can make the VM as big as you want to be and play with them. And there's also, I know I'm holding you guys over, and I apologize. Um, but like I said, I can teach all day, all night.
No, you don't. You don't apologize. You
So
don't.
there's
Stop lying to these.
there's Google Cloud platform on YouTube, and they have a lot of good examples on like a lot of good videos on how to use their stuff. Like how to start up command line stuff. I would definitely check out those videos. I'm actually going to be pulling some things from those videos. So they're great, great information, and they also have webinars as well too. So I would check that out just so you can see, how extensive it is, and how to. And they got a podcast as well too. So I like them. See, yeah, her. Yeah, and then like she just talks about in 1 minute how to set up an instance group, and then boom, you're setting up instant group. Yeah, you create your MongoDB, and then if you're feeling like really, really excited about MongoDB, which tomorrow, if you guys come tomorrow, we have a class tomorrow on MongoDB. See, 7 o'clock tomorrow. But there's MongoDB University, and it's free. Um, and you can check it out here, and they have a set of classes that you could take. So check them out. I hope that was very informational for you guys. From the standpoint of, and this is the teacher for tomorrow here. This guy, Norberto, that guy. He's the teacher tomorrow. So again, like I say, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to experiment and play. Spin up your instances. Get very comfortable with command line, because that's how I teach the whole time. I'm not a GUI person, only for web browsing. Um, but yeah. Oh, oh, Stack Overflow has install Linux. You can browse Stack Overflow from your Linux box. How cool is that? So you can do like Stack Overflow and then go out and browse. I'll find it for you, and so you can do that. So you can, like, if you got questions about something, you can just go to Stack Overflow from your Linux command line and it'll pull it up for you. How cool is that? Well, people, it has been real. I will post this actual video. I'll probably post. We have a Women in Linux YouTube account that I haven't posted anything to yet. So this will probably be the first video that I put out there for you guys to look at. And then we'll go from there. And then you tell me what you think. You can rate it. You can ask questions, and then we'll go from there. Is that cool for
Thank you
everyone?
guys for joining us.
All right.
Follow us on Twitter. Like us. If you like the content, please share. Come back to see us.
This is
Send
her.
us notes. Answer your questions, please, on Meetup. If you do recommend a friend or if you already signed up with Meetup, we ask you to go back and answer the questions that are there for sign up so we can better what do you call
Hey,
that?
man.
Gauge the courses. So yeah.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And we'll have to put you guys in Slack as well too, because we do have a Slack channel. I'll have to send that to you guys. Um, yeah. I'm glad you heard
Yeah.
me on Karen. Somebody had posted the link. Somebody had posted on there like it was too short. We needed more information, but you did. Hopefully, I get back on there again. We were supposed to have 50 people in here tonight, and we only had 10, but that's okay. Oh, we had 12. We had 12. I'm okay with that. It's still small enough that you guys got a good dosage of everything. Well, we'll see you guys on Saturday, or actually tomorrow. The link is posted for tomorrow. Please register for tomorrow. Yeah, it's posted. I posted it this
Yeah,
afternoon.
for MongoDB.
Yeah, yeah, I posted it this afternoon. So yeah, please check it out. And sign up and tell your friends.
And donate.
Always donate. We could use the help. Wait, Eric, I could tell you, I could honestly tell you, don't get all of this for free with a lot of places with a lot of this information. So, take care. See you.